It was supposed to last 2 weeks, but it collapsed in less than 6 days. What began as a simple psychology study at Stanford University quickly turned into one of the most disturbing experiments in history. Students became violent, others broke down mentally, and the man who designed it lost control. This is the true story of the Stanford Prison Experiment, when ordinary people became monsters. Setup. In August 1971, psychology professor Philip Zimbardo wanted to understand what happens when ordinary people are given power, or stripped of it. To test this, he and his team turned the basement of Stanford University's psychology department into a fake prison. 24 healthy, intelligent male students were chosen. Half would become guards, the other half prisoners. No real crimes, no real punishment. Just a simulation, or so they thought. Each prisoner was arrested at home by real police officers, blindfolded, and taken to the prison. They were stripped, deloused, and given smocks with ID numbers instead of names. The guards, in khaki uniforms and mirrored sunglasses, were told to maintain order, but not to use violence. What followed was beyond anyone's imagination: the transformation. Within hours, everything changed. The guards started shouting orders. They made the prisoners do push-ups, clean toilets, and shout their ID numbers repeatedly. They invented punishments, some harmless, others cruel. They forced prisoners to stand for hours, denied them sleep, humiliated them for mistakes that didn't exist. And Zimbardo watched, not as a scientist, but as the prison superintendent. The power had gotten to him too. The prisoners could have walked away at any time, yet they didn't. They had started to believe it was real. Some begged for parole, others cried uncontrollably. In just 2 days, the line between experiment and reality disappeared. The rebellion. On the second day, the prisoners rebelled. They barricaded themselves in their cells using their beds, shouting and cursing at the guards. The guards responded with fire extinguishers and brute intimidation. They stripped prisoners naked, took away their beds, and isolated the ringleaders. They began using psychological torture, pitting prisoners against each other. Some were given privileges, others were starved or humiliated. The environment had turned toxic, fast. Even Zimbardo himself admitted later, he forgot he was running an experiment. He had become part of it. Breakdown. By the third day, several prisoners suffered emotional breakdowns. One began screaming uncontrollably, crying that he wanted to leave. Zimbardo hesitated, thinking it was manipulation. But the breakdown was real. The student was released after 36 hours, the first casualty of the study. Yet the guards only became crueler. They created privilege cells, forced prisoners to clean toilets with their bare hands, and used solitary confinement to break their spirits. The collapse. On day 6, graduate student Christina Maslach, who later became Zimbardo's wife, came to observe the experiment. What she saw horrified her: exhausted students, dehumanized and terrified, guards acting like prison wardens drunk on authority. She confronted Zimbardo directly, asking him, "What you're doing to these boys, do you even see it anymore?" That night, Zimbardo ended the experiment. It was supposed to last 2 weeks. It barely survived 6 days. Aftermath and reflection. When the recordings were released, the world was shocked. How could normal, educated young men turn sadistic in just a few days? Zimbardo concluded that it wasn't about personality, it was about power. When systems create authority without accountability, cruelty becomes ordinary. The experiment has since been criticized for its ethics, its lack of control, and Zimbardo's own bias, but its message remains timeless. The line between good and evil is thinner than we think. Outrow. So, what would you do if you were given power over others? Would you stay kind, or lose yourself like they did? Let us know what you think in the comments. And if you love true dark stories like this one, hit subscribe. More chilling documentaries are coming.